The foothills of the Smoky Mountains have been invaded by four-wheeled monsters, some dirty, some shiny, and some just plain mean. Welcome to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, the home of the 2017 Jeep invasion. From off-road beasts to cruisers with a little more class, thousands of Jeeps showed up to this year's event. We'll start off with a red Wrangler with an unusual grille.
2007 Jeep Wrangler JKU. Started out, I had the grille hanging on the wall in the shop for a few years, probably 10 years, and I always wanted to do something with it. And after looking at it for long enough, I had a JKU. Crafted two together to make what I have now is a Gladiator conversion that is old school. The rustic paint fits a part of the grille. It looks like it's old. It's patinaed to make it look original, like it's already 30, 40 years old. Key modifications to the Jeep is a rock hard roll cage on the inside for safety. My thoughts on the conversion for doing this is reuse as many parts as you can off your existing vehicle, which meaning stock JK headlight, stock marker. So in everything, you don't have to cut the wiring harness, everything relocates and you reuse as many components as possible. The idea behind the project is to retrofit the modern Jeep four-door to the old school using the 60s grille and to be able to have something different. Everybody has a JK that they're riding around, they all look the same. So in order to make it stand out and be different from anybody else, this was my idea, to use the Rhino grille Gladiator conversion to make it something different that nobody else has. Most people think it's a Mopar concept. It's not a concept, it's mine. I designed it, I built it, here it is. You know, I want to be different. Every vehicle I build is different, stand out above the crowd, and this is my latest conversion I've done to do that.
There are Jeeps as far as the eye can see, and Justin Murray explains how it all started.
We started this event 5 years ago at the Jeepism in Townsend, Tennessee, and a field behind Jeepism. We met there with another Jeep club, the Muddy Buddies Jeep Club, and we had about 300 to 400 Jeeps in this field. It was a small gathering, and we all had a great time. And from that point on, we decided to do another show over here at the Island parking lot. And we did a show over there at the Island parking lot. It was a huge success. It would jump to about 2,000 Jeeps. We were blown away. We had about 5 vendors. Then we made the decision to go over here and rent the LeConte Convention Center. And from there, it just blew up. Out of control, we created a monster. And it's a monster that we almost can't control right now. We still got some room to expand in our outside vendor area parking lot. So hopefully we can squeeze some more people in. I think the mystique with Jeeps is it's freedom. The machine brought us freedom back in the 40s, back in the war. And everybody feels that freedom when they take the top off. And they go out and enjoy the weather, have the wind go through their hair. It's just a sense of freedom and a good release of stress. I mean, it puts a smile on your face. It's just no denying it at all.
Murray is a Jeep lover and owner as well.
My Jeep's a 1994 Wrangler YJ. I've had this Jeep since I was 17. And I've done a few things to it. A little bit of a engine swap here. I got an LS 2005, a 5.3 GM engine in it. It gets around pretty quickly and it gets on the trails very well. So I'm pretty proud of it. I've got plenty of chips and scratches and dents underneath. It's an ongoing project and I'm not sure if it'll ever end.
Our next Jeep is big and mean.
2016 Jeep Wrangler JKU. It's a bruiser conversion. It's stretched 24 inches, LS3 hot cam, 530 horsepower under the hood. We built full 1-ton axles for the suspension. Has a rough country 6-inch long arm kit attached to it, along with Evo manufacturing coilovers. The wheels are manufactured by Forgiato. It's a wheel we designed called a Roccaforte. It's a 24 by 14 brushed aluminum, clear coated. I always try to incorporate something from a military base or from USA made, just out of respect. So My nephew's in the military, serving over in Hawaii, so I made a USA flag to go on the bumpers, which the bumpers are made in the U.S. So the tread plates, just a different accent to it with treads, with tire treads. That's our logo. Our BMS off-road logo is just a tire tread. So that way when people see it, they know that it's a BMS brand build. Everybody loves it. You know, everybody's always going to pick something. They don't like this, they don't like that. And the way I always say when I go to build something, you can't please everyone. Favorite part of the Jeep is probably the wheels. That's our first design wheel with Forgiato. It's part of their off-road line, their Duro line. Just being able to name your first wheel after being in the wheel and tire industry for 20 years, being able to design and name your first wheel, it just, you know, it's very humbling.
The 1950s weren't all poodle skirts and pompadours. Stay with us as we head back in time to see three Jeeps that only have one thing in common: the decade. Stay with us. Dream Rides is being brought to you by Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. B-Router Custom, your one-stop destination for all things automotive. Smoothie Fabrication, real steel, real smooth, real cool. And by Dustless Blasting, it's the future of surface preparation. Welcome back to Dream Rides from the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. There are plenty of Jeeps here, and a few are hidden gems, like this one.
It's a 1952 M38. I've owned a Jeep for about 28 years. I bought it, tore it apart, and the first week I had it, and it sat in the garage for 23 years. And then I finally decided I'd put it all back together. So I've been driving around about 4 years now. Well, you know, when I first tore it apart, I had all intentions of making a mud bogger out of it. I was young, I wanted something to play with on the trails and stuff. But as I got older, the time I got it built, I just wanted to put it back kind of stock and just something slow and easy. And so it's pretty much stock.
He kind of drugged me into it. Whenever we were young and he was gonna make it into a mud bogger, then that sounded kind of interesting because I was young too. But I like it better that we're older and we have it the way it is now. I think that it plays a lot more purpose in our life this way than what it would have as a bogger.
Just probably leave it just like it is and drive it. We enjoy riding around in it. We get out in the afternoons and stuff in the summertime and ride. We really enjoy it the way it is.
Not all Jeeps are polished and clean. Some are built from parts and memories.
It started out as a military Jeep. It's a 1952. I bought it in Virginia, in West Virginia. I always wanted a rat rod. I'm a Jeep fanatic. I love every Jeep they are, but I just want me a rat rod out of the blues. So I bought it and just started one of those things you just start tinkering with it. This is about a 2-year process, maybe 2 years. The license plates, I just come up one day in my head, you know, I seen the old style vent shades, you know, on the old cars, you know, I don't know if you remember back in the 50s and stuff. And I got a stack of license plates that my father had accumulated over a few years, you know. It's just like the Purple Heart license plate. That was his last plate that he bought before he passed away. So I had to put it on the dash. But anyways, I took the license plates and I thought, heck, perfect. So I cut them out and I said, well, I got to make them look a little different. So I found the old green reflectors, stuck them on there, you know. And I don't know if you noticed the sign on the back or not, but the boys' toilet. It come out of the elementary school that I went to. This is the first time I've had it to a show. All I took is some shows at events at home, you know, local, you know. But this is the first big event I've had it to, yeah. Oh, all kinds of reactions. Everywhere I go, it's like when we stopped here, everybody jumped up on the trailer, you know. Even when we was trailering here, you know, people videoing it, you know. And you can walk up to it, and every time you walk to it, you might see one thing, and then the next time you see something else you missed, you know. Just little things that catches you, you know.
Jeeps have a long history, and some even played a big part in our military. This next Jeep pays homage.
It's a 1951 Willys M38 military Jeep. Saw the Jeep on a trailer a couple of years ago, and after crawling around on it, I just decided I had to own it. It just was a very beautiful specimen for that age of a Jeep, and I've done some work to it, redo the wiring, rebuilt the transmission transfer case, and just trying to bring it back to its original state and drive it around, enjoy it. It's based on the militarized version of a CJ3A. It was 24 volts. It uses old Douglas connectors, so getting all the parts for that original wiring has been kind of the big problem. Even though that they're military, might never have seen military, and unfortunately, a lot of the tags have been removed, so I can't trace back its true lineage, but it came out of the factory as an M38 military Jeep. I've always liked military hardware. Yes, I loved Humvees. I loved the big deuce and a halves. I loved anything Jeep. It's really good. This thing will do 50 miles an hour. Up and down the hills. It's amazing for having a little 60 horsepower motor that it actually does as well as it just cruises down the road. It's a fun vehicle.
Stay right here. When Dream Rides returns, we have a Jeep to show you that looks nothing like it once did, but is much better. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Pigeon Forge and the Jeep Invasion. Dream Rides likes to bring you the best cars, trucks, and Jeeps around, but sometimes even the toughest Jeeps need new rugged accessories.
It keeps getting bigger every year. We were here last year and this year as well. And there's more Jeeps in the parking lot and more people in the convention center than ever before, so it's great. We're the largest manufacturer of Jeep accessories in the world, independent company, and we have everything from 1941 all the way up to the present. So we have all the restoration parts to fix the old Jeeps as well as the accessories to personalize the newer ones. We have a full line. We have over 10,000 products, and that's pretty much more than anybody. You can find anything you want for your Jeep to make it, like I say, the way you want it to be. That's the nice thing about Jeeps is you can personalize them. Each time we go to an event, we support the local community and the local charities. Most of these events have a selected charity that they support. And so what we do is we give away merchandise, our marketing merchandise, in exchange for donations. So at any given event, we will raise a few $1,000s at least in charity donations. So we're giving away our beach towels, our rope bags, our various products in exchange for the donations. And it really helps out these local charities. We get a really good turnout. There's a line from our trailer that probably extends, several hundred yards. And people stand in line from morning till night. We've done a number of these events, and it's always the case. And in particular here, this is a great group of people, great location, and a wonderful show. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you can see just about anything out there. And it's really a chance for the public to come through and see what's available, what's new and hot, and out in the parking lot, see what other people have done with their Jeeps. And that usually generates all kinds of ideas.
Some Jeepers love the huge tires, but others prefer a more classic look.
It is a 1970, but 70 and a half Kaiser Jeepster Commando. I was a county police officer, and as I was driving around, I kept seeing the front end of this little Jeep sticking out of a barn. And this was about 5 years ago. Eventually, I stopped and talked to the lady, and I found out that it was a Jeep Commando. She priced it to me then, and I really wasn't interested in it. 5 years ago, I ran into her about 30 days ago at a tire store, and she offered me the Jeep again for basically a little bit of nothing, so I went ahead and bought it. It's got 30,000 original miles on it. Basically, everything in it is factory. It's never been touched. It's the last year of the Kaiser before AMC bought it out. So it's the changeover. So it's still got the borrowed Buick V6 in it, and that's the engine that still sits in it. So yeah, it's a Kaiser, but it's right at that cusp when it changes over to AMC. I'm a Jeep freak. I've always known my Jeeps, but the older model Jeeps I'm completely blind to. So when I got the thing, I basically just cleaned it up and polished it up, and now I'm finding the stories out about it. several people's come up to me either begging for the Jeep, trying to buy it, or telling me stories about their grandpa used to have this exact same Jeep or just whatever.
This next Jeep shows why being set high isn't always best.
78 CJ7. We've totally customized this off-road vehicle by cutting the grill, the cowl, the body panels, the windshield frame. It still has 70% of the stock frame under it, but everything else has been modified. There's very little CJ left that's stock but still appearing. We wanted to make something that was off the shelf, beautiful, and performed just as well. The looks of it, we wanted to make something that was sleek and the lines flow together. We have a style at Outlaw Fabworks that it has to be something different than what anybody else has built out there. The engine in this is a Blue Point 383 that makes 425 horse. The suspension upgrades that we've done is the same techniques we use on all of our vehicles. We figured out the geometry to make them actually climb just about anything and be stable. This vehicle actually gets used quite a bit. It climbs so well that you actually don't have to abuse it that bad. The windshield on this vehicle, it didn't look right with a straight windshield, and we figured that if we angled it and modified it, it was either going to look really good or really bad, and it turned out to be a hit. When we finished this vehicle, we stood back and it came out exactly how we wanted it to come out. There's really nothing we would change on it. Luckily, when we got an idea, we follow through, and every part of the vehicle follows through with the theme.
Next on Dream Rides, we check out a couple Jeeps with some crazy artwork built into the design, and you won't believe what they are. Stay with us. Dream Rides is being brought to you by Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. Clamp Tight, the clamp making tool. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. And by Lizard Skin, spray your way to a cooler, quieter ride. With thousands of Jeeps in attendance, it's fair to say that a few of them have some wild accessories. From halo lights and snorkels to massive tires and classic looks, Jeepers love to add to their creations.
ARB is one of the world's largest four-wheel drive engineering and manufacturing companies. We manufacture bumpers, roof racks, suspension. We're companies based out of Melbourne, Australia. We just celebrated our 40th birthday, and we're very, very proud to bring these products into the U.S. and been doing so for quite a bit of time now. Really, for most four-wheel drive vehicles that we see here in the States, we are based out of Australia, so we support a lot of international trucks that we don't see here in the States, but here we do a lot for Jeep, for the most part Wranglers, and then also Toyota trucks, Nissans, so most popular four-wheel drive trucks that you see on the road. We do. We learn a lot from our customers at these events, and we try and listen and pick up on what customers are looking for and what they want from ARB in the future and what we think will work for them. You know, ultimately give them a better experience when they're off-road. It's a good event. This is an area where we see a lot of potential. A lot of customers here drive four-wheel drive trucks and Jeeps, and so it's great to come here with one of our vehicles and with the product we have here and educate customers on why ARB products are a great addition to their vehicle or helpful when they're off-road. Yeah, spend some time with customers, listen to the kind of questions they have, and provide some support while we're here.
Always looking for new creative things? Sometimes you just have to look up.
It's a 1987 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. The color is called Seaside Blue, and is actually spray paint. We did it with rattle can, 16 of them. The whole thing is primer underneath, and then we spray painted it and taped it off, and then the headliner inside is called a paisley, and it's real pretty colors. I love that, the color, and I love that it's an FSJ, and it's actually the last year of a true AMC Jeep. Because last year, this one came out in February of '87, And Chrysler bought Jeep in March 1st, 1987. So I had the last AMC. Everything inside was like a really boring tan color, and it didn't match the blue. So we covered the seats, we took out the carpet, we took off the door panels, and we made it to our budget. So it's all custom to what we wanted. We have not been to an AMC show yet, but we do car shows and cruise-ins where we're from. And so far this year to date, she's got 4 trophies. So she is a trophy queen. Her name is Little Miss Head Turner because that's what she does. She turns heads. She's not a perfect Jeep, but she's perfect for me, so that's why we did her that way.
Some Jeeps are rock crawlers and others are web crawlers.
It is a 1997 Jeep Wrangler TJ. Our customer had bought us wheels and tires, which the wheels are currently on the vehicle but been completely powder coated black, and a set of tires that really didn't fit kind of the scheme we were going for a rock crawler, which is what he told me he wanted. So the customer and I kind of sat down and we were like, what's your budget? Give me an idea of what your budget is. I already kind of know where you want to go with the vision of the Jeep. And he gave me a budget, so I came down and came up with the black and red paint scheme that we were going with, and all the, basically making it a off-road vehicle and also to be able to drive 80 miles an hour on the interstate. And we finally met about a month after he gave me his budget. I sat down with him, went through everything, showed him my ideas. He absolutely fell in love with it. And he goes, let's build it. So we started and just ordered parts. And about 2 months later, all the parts were in. We started the build January 1. And May 5th is when we handed the Jeep back to the customer. He actually took it right home to Nashville, has been driving it ever since. And 2 weeks ago, he drove it over from Nashville to me for the show today. In the front corners on metal cloak fenders for a TJ, they have a little triangle cutout. It's an access plate to get in to put in some of the bolts and nuts. With the black and red theme, we wanted to name it the Black Widow. We actually had him custom cut those corner plates to be a Black Widow spider, and we laid it over an extruded black mesh to make it look like the spider is crawling up a spider web. And we named it the Black Widow.
Join us next week for more from the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Next week, we'll see more giant Jeeps, rugged rockers, and we'll go faster with a surprise from the Jurassic era. See you next week.